Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie and today you're joining me for a June planner flip through in my catch-all Frankenplanner here. I'll be going through all of my After the Pen spreads as well as kind of talking a little bit about my setup, but I'm not going to focus too much on that this time because I just did a planner setup video mid-year, so you can get all the deets that you want on the actual setup of my planner in that video. So hopefully this will be a little bit faster, a little more streamlined, and yeah, so we can just like jump right in. So just really quick, what I was thinking to do is have you guys jump in the chat if you have the ability to do so. Say hello, say maybe where you're from, and then anything else that you might want to ask me. Now is the time so that I can easily see your questions pop up and address them as we go through. That's usually the fastest way. If there's things that come up as we go along, feel free to drop those in the chat as well. And then also too, if you're watching this after the fact, you can leave your questions or comments too in the comment section of the video once this is over, and I will address your question then. So if that sounds good, let's get started. I'm actually seeing some chats come in. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll just quickly say hello to, let's see, we got a few people coming in. Thank you guys all for joining me. And yeah, I'm so happy you guys could be with me today on this Sunday. I know it's a holiday weekend here in the United States, so a lot of people might be doing other things, but I still wanted to keep my schedule of doing these monthly flip throughs so you guys can, be a part of it, and also I can show you guys what I've been up to. Okay, let's go ahead and just jump in because, like I said, I want to try to make this more condensed than I normally do. I usually get pretty chatty, so let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, planner setup video is available already on my channel, so if you want to know more about the setup. But a brief overview is that I put 5 planners into one each month. So I take a month out of each individual planner, stick it in here, and then I work off of that for the whole month, and then I switch it out. So you'll see me pulling out some items probably from a few sections in here at least, because we're still on Sunday and there's a couple of weeks that are still in progress. But I'll pull some out and you'll be able to see those planners as we go through. But basically this is what I work off of. So I have a couple of sections in the front. I have it divided on the sides into major sections. So we're gonna skip to the 4th section, which is my schedule section, and start there. So let me go ahead and get it set up, get everything aligned so it looks nice and even for you guys. Hopefully you guys have no issues. And then yeah, oh, also too, let me know if you're having any trouble with the audio or anything like that, lighting. Just feel free to drop that in the chat if you can, and let me know if there's any issues you see or hear. Okay, so yeah, so I have my schedule section, and this is the section that holds all of the dated planner items that I carry here in my catch-all. The rest of the stuff is not so much dated, but it is stuff I want to have access to. And then I have my yearly future log at the front. And the first planner that we're going to jump to, so I'm just going to skip ahead and jump to the first planner that we're going to review, which is my faith planner. Okay, so for my faith planner, what I do is I use printables from my shop. I am using the Quadrant layout. I was using it in June. I'm also going to be using it for the last half of the year, along with a monthly layout. And I also have a very loud car driving by, and I also have a faith overview layout, which I'll show you all of those as we go. So the first spread here is, like I said, my monthly spread, and this is how it came out. What I normally do is in the morning, I do all of my faith planning right in advance. So what I do is I do my morning prayer, my daily Bible reading, my verse of the day lettering, and then I do this. Yeah, I was like, what else? There's one more thing. I do this, which is basically what I call the takeaway, but it's a summary of what I read in the Bible that day, and just try to get a snippet from the reading that I can apply to my life. So this has been working out really good for me, so I'm going to continue doing that for the rest of the year. And it's a way for me to kind of reflect, but not be too intense as far as like full-on Bible study or Bible journaling. I just, that's a little bit much for me. I'm not a big writer, so this is just the right amount to get me to pay attention to what I'm reading, just take something away from it, but not be too burdensome on my morning. So I write what verses I actually read, and I do all of this in an app called the YouVersion app. If you want to know more about that, just let me know. I can give you the details, but basically I have my plan in there. The verse of the day just auto-populates in there, and then yeah, so it's kind of all in one for me. I don't have to have a separate handheld Bible or anything like that. I just do it all off the app, and it works out great. And like I said, I have what I read and then that takeaway, and that's what I put here on the monthly. I do theme all of my faith planning ahead of time. So I do like a month in advance. I will theme out the entire month of my faith planner at once. And I theme out the whole planner at once, and then I will sorry, I got distracted by the chat. I'll address that in a second. I take all of the pages, one theme, set it up, so I don't have to worry about it throughout the month. That's what I was trying to get at. So we'll get there. But I see, sorry, in the chat, maybe I'm not the only one, but the image does not appear clear on the screen. Okay, that might be the YouTube settings. There is in the toggle bar sometimes the ability to up your resolution, and if it's on auto it might be too low. But when I do the lives, just know that it's not going to be as clear as my normal videos. I think they only allow you up to 1080 pixels, which is kind of mediocre as far as resolution. I like to upload mine in the 4K settings so that it's a lot clearer. Just FYI on that. But it looks like Steppy, looks like you are okay with your settings, so maybe it's just, because it's going all the way to France, it looks like maybe there's a problem with that, but hopefully you can adjust your settings and get it back on track there. Okay. So like I said, this is how this spread turned out, and I really loved this theme. We did some watercolor. I did a plan with me on this, so if you want to see the whole setup and how I put it all together, you can totally check that out. Also too, before I get too far in, the paper that I use for printing my own printables is HP Premium 32 paper for the most part. So that is the paper that I use and I recommend. I've tried a few other papers. This has so far been the best that I've experienced. Really good with double-sided printing, and I even did watercolor on here, and you're going to see there's really not any bleed through at all. So it really held up well against even water. So okay, next spread. Getting into the spreads. We've got my faith overview. So in my faith overview, this is something that's in my shop. It's kind of like a dashboard for my faith for the month. I have here a prayer list, so this is the things I'm praying for the month. I also have a habit tracker, so these are those 4 things I mentioned to you in the beginning that I do every morning. This is my habit tracker for that. And then there's a nice open space up here, so I like to do a verse for the month, and I put that together. I think I did this one after the video was over because I was kind of condensed on time. But that's how that one turned out. And then at the bottom here is where I do my reflection or how I'm feeling currently for the month in my spiritual walk. So this is included in that faith overview. It gives you some prompts to really kind of address, where you're at, and then you can fill that out as needed throughout the month. Just a little check-in with yourself, and then also kind of see where you were at each month as a memory keeping item as well. So this is how it turned out. I really loved this color scheme this month and enjoyed this a lot. Okay, so like I said, that was the faith overview. This is the quadrant layout, again from my shop, and this has just been the best layout I found for verse lettering in my planner. Just the right amount of space, and the shape and everything works out really great. So I'll be using this for the rest of the year. And what I do is letter a verse each month, basically, or no, not each month, each day, but for the whole month. And yeah, that's what this is. Just totally, my train of thought is just going, I don't know, haywire right now. Anyway, I used a couple of highlighter pens to do the setup this month. So I had like each 3 of these colors, this kind of coral orange, the yellow, and the blue, in a highlighter that there was no other option. It's just like a chisel highlighter. I found 2 other pens that I could use for lettering the orange and the yellow, but I didn't find another pen in my collection that fit this kind of gray-blue toned. So I ended up trying to use a highlighter. It's a little bit rougher than the other ones, so you can kind of see I didn't do too much with it as far as brush lettering or, you know, specific type of lettering. I had to kind of get creative because it was a chiseled hard, you know, highlighter tip. I didn't have the flexibility. But for the most part, I like to use a fine liner. I usually use a Pigma Micron for the black lettering. I use a Tombow Furunosuke hard tip brush pen for the brush lettering. And then I usually will have some kind of colored pen with a fine tip and then some kind of brush tip. I've used numerous pens in the past, but this month I decided to use this color, and like I said, I had to use just a basic highlighter chisel tip to get that color. Okay, so this is how the first week turned out. And here is the second week. I decided to do each week in a color instead of mixing up the colors since I didn't want it to get too busy. And I really like how this turned out. The yellow was nice and very vibrant. And here I had a little bit more variety because I did have the fine tip and the brush tip option. So you can see some variations on some of these. But for the most part, it's the same process every morning. And I try to, you know, interpret what I'm reading and make it pretty at the same time. So it's very good. So next we're going to go on to the Coral Week, which is like midweek here. And for this, we had, again, another pen that had dual tips. So there's lots of options as far as, you know, outlining and then fine lining. But this one was also pretty good. The color was a little bit more vibrant than the actual color I used for the setup, because again, I was using those highlighters for the setup. But I still think it worked pretty well and allowed me to do some finer lettering in that color and still be legible. So that was kind of fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next spread. Here's how that one turned out. Let's see. I mean, basically it's the same. This is just how I went about it. If you guys have any questions on this, just let me know as we go through, but I'll just try to, you know, go through, not chat too much, and show you what I did and move on. Let's see, I do see a comment while you guys look at this. I see these pages are, oh, why can't I not read that? On the, oh, no, I don't, oh, the KV, yeah, the King James Version, yes. So most of the time I read King James Version, but sometimes I will pull the interpretation from the NIV or whatever other options there are if I feel like it explains the verse a little bit better, but I do tend to stick with the King James Version of the Bible when I do my reading and also my lettering. Just because I memorized a lot of those verses in the past, so those are the ones I'm most comfortable with and familiar with, so yeah. Okay, sorry, I have some weird things happening here on the chat. Okay, there we go. All right, so this was the last week, and this is a fun one to end on. I did this one just this morning, and yeah, it's a really great process. I really enjoy this and highly recommend it for anybody who wants to spend a little more time in the Word but doesn't know where to start. So that is it. I have this back page. I didn't end up using it again this month. Had a hard time kind of figuring out a way to use this productively each month, but I do like it decorated, so I just go ahead and decorate it in advance in case I do decide to use it for some purpose. But I ended up not using it at all. Okay, so I have July in here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull out June since I've finished all of the spreads in there and put that into my faith planner. Just going to move this to the side, grab that. So like I said, each planner actually has its own planner that it lives in, and then I pull out a month at a time and put it here in my Frankenplanner. This is a very hodgepodgey planner with just dividers from random places and discs from one, cover from another. Just put it together for storage, basically. And that's it. So that is my faith planner. Nothing really else to see there. I see a comment about, oh yeah, maybe gratitude or blessings. I did try a gratitude in the past, and that worked out pretty well. I feel like I have a lot in the morning, so finding something else that I need to do sometimes does take a minute, but gratitude was good. Blessings is pretty good, too, like how I'm being blessed. Maybe I'll try that one for next month. It's a pretty good suggestion. Thanks so much. Okay, so I've already got July in. I've got my tabs in. I'll briefly talk about my tabs. I basically just go and hit the individual pages that I need to each morning and then go through each of the planners in the same fashion. So I've got Faith Month, Overview, Week. I just go to those 3 pages and then I go to the next planner, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on the planner, and work my way through my planner in these top tabs. And that's it. I don't flip around in my planner. I just use those top tabs each morning to get to all the pages I need to touch, and then I'm done for the day. So that's just how I organize things. It works out really good for me. And next we're going to talk about my health planner. So my health planner, again, is something from my shop. It is a lined top box layout, so it's called lined top box layout in my shop, but it's very similar to the Happy Planner lined vertical layout. And I also have a monthly overview in here, as well as a health overview, which you'll see as we go through. So the first spread is my health overview, or my month overview, excuse me. And in here this month, I decided to put a few things. I have in the main section any workouts that I did. And if I didn't do a workout, I put an X this month so I could get a better visual of the days that I was slacking. And I can see that Thursdays are bad, Mondays are bad, Saturdays, of course. I usually rest on Saturday anyway, but Thursdays and Mondays were pretty bad. Even Tuesday's kind of bad too. So Wednesday and Friday I get it together, and sometimes on Sunday, which is not good. I really need to step it up. But it's a nice way to see at a glance how June went. I also have my fasting kind of schedule that I've been tracking as I go. So I started fasting back in late April, and I worked up to a 22-hour fast regularly. So every day I basically fast all day except for 2 hours. In that time frame, I eat one meal, and then I fast again till the next day. So I was having trouble calculating the hours because sometimes I end my fast early, or maybe I need to shift my window a little bit in order to meet up with friends and eat with them. So I've been trying to keep track using this method of saying when I started eating and when this would be when I started eating, and then the next day when I finished saying this backwards. Yeah, so when I started eating, when I finished eating on that day, and then how much longer until the next day that I broke my fast. That was the easiest way for me to figure it out, because it was really hard to calculate it just having the eating window in the same box. So this worked out better, and then you can kind of see I can calculate my hours. And for the most part, I've kept pretty consistent with that 22-hour plus fast. There's a few days where things got, off because of, because I went out with a friend and I ate earlier, or had something where I just really needed a late night snack. But for the most part, that has been really good. I've maintained my weight all month, but I think I'm eating more calories now because I know I only eat once a day. So I have to rein that in here in July. But I did lose like 8 pounds back from April to the end of May, which was what I needed to kind of boost my momentum to get to weight loss again. So that said, I'm going to be trying to eat a little bit better, and then also adding some more workouts, and hopefully that will put me back on track for weight loss. Also to the design, I do decorate this, but just kind of off camera. I don't spend a lot of time in the decorating of these spreads for the monthly, because it just is something that I throw together and I don't worry about it too much. So I don't do plan with me's on this or anything. I just throw some stickers for color and move on. So here is my health overview spread. And again, I have that same theme on this spread. This is available in my shop as a standalone item. It is set up basically with a couple of boxes for some health goals. Has this checklist, which I still haven't figured out a good reason to use this quite yet. I did try to map out some meal plans last month, but that was I have these habit trackers, which I do use, and just kind of map out a few health things that I want to work on for the month. Then I have over here my starting body weight for the month, as well as body fat percentage, and then a little measurements guy that I can easily keep track of my measurements at the beginning of the month. So I do it once a month instead of trying to do it more regularly, because things don't change that much, honestly, at least lately. And then over here, I have my monthly stats. So very stats oriented, really love looking at stats and how I'm doing and evaluating things and comparing months and all that. So there's a little chart here on the side for tracking your stats as well in the overview. And here I just use my Apple Watch stats and plug in the monthly totals and then the daily averages and compare it with the previous month. And this month I was up, surprisingly, even though I had not that much going on in the workout department. I was still up in all of my stats, which was really great. And then finally down here at the bottom, I use this as kind of like a health goals review. I have a few questions that I use over and over. How was I successful? What didn't go so well? What I can do differently? How I feel? What motivates me? And what will I focus on in July? So I'm using those as just kind of a check-in with my progress and my goals and how I can make adjustments. So that is that spread. And then next we are on to the weekly. So this is where we're into the lined top box layout for my shop. And I've been using this year. It works pretty good. In the past I've used the fitness layout and the health layout in my shop, but the fitness layout from the Happy Planner. I also have a wellness layout kind of similar to the Happy Planner as well in my shop. So I've used both of those layouts and I just wanted something different this year. So went with the line vertical because I could still get all the information I wanted in without being too different from what I was used to. And this has worked out pretty good. I don't really have any complaints. It's just I'm kind of bored. I usually get bored around this time of the year and I'm seeking out something else to try. So I was going to try the Faith layout and try to make that work for the health, since I had a Faith planner I got on clearance, but I just couldn't figure out how to make it work exactly how I wanted it. So we're going to stick with this for now, but as you can see, I have some fun with the layouts. I really like these to be vibrant and energizing. So this one was for Donut Day, and I really love this one, actually. I love how it came out. Some sweet subscriber sent me another sheet of donuts, which I've used all of my donut sheets up in the past because I always do a Donut Day spread. So it was nice to have some fresh donuts to work with as far as stickers. And then the color scheme was great. It was just really good. And I can track pretty much everything I need to track, which is my workouts. I tracked my fasting, which I didn't necessarily need to, but I do like having it here on the weekly as well as on the monthly. I have my food log. So since I'm only eating one meal a day, it's been a lot more condensed, which is nice. I don't need as much space. It gives me a little bit more flexibility for decor. And then I have my stat stickers. So this is where I track my stats on a daily basis from my Apple Watch. And these I made on my computer at home. I made them for personal use. I have had some requests for stat stickers, so I've done a couple of custom items through my shop. If that's something you are interested in, let me know. Just contact me through Etsy and I can hook you up with what I'm doing as far as a printable. But that said, this has just been my normal tracking items for my health planner for many years now, and I really find it very useful. Also, too, I should mention that the lined top box layout that I'm using here does not come with a hydration tracker, so I added that as a custom item throughout the health planner. Okay, so again, that was the first spread of the month, and next we're into the second spread. This one here, I'm pretty sure was a plannable challenge. Let's see, plannable challenge, feeling nautical. So that was what this one was for. I actually used some rub-ons on this one, some watercolor. Yeah, this one was kind of fun. Some older like stickers I had in my stash. Used some silver pen, even though it's really hard to see, but it's in there. So yeah, that's how that's all set up. And again, all the same information. This is a really bad week. As you can see, I didn't work out at all. So I had nothing good to report up there, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. And then my next spread was like a vintage inspired spread. This one I think I did with Easy Craft Art. I think so, yeah. I think I did this one with the Easy Craft Art supplies that I was sent. So I really like the vintage vibe. A lot of bullet journalers go with the vintage vibe, and I really like it. It's just kind of new to me, so I'm like learning how to combine stickers, and I mean my go-to is always collages. So I have this collage set up, but it was a really fun one to be into. It definitely had a vintage vibe. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Everything else is the same as far as content that I track, and I did start tracking here on the sidebar for the month the 3 servings of veggies. I was trying to get more veggies in, so I decided to add a habit tracker here and there to try to boost that, but it sort of helped me at least put it front of mind as far as where I am, you know, when I'm making my meals. Okay, so that is that week. Oh, and then this was the, I think maybe, no, I have one more, yeah. This was last week. This one was so fun. I used a bunch of random little stickers from different places. If you put anything in a gradient or a rainbow, it makes it so much better. So I did kind of a rainbow vibe here across and just put in some health stuff, some planner stuff, and some summer stuff, because this was for the Plannable Challenge theme, Planner Babe Summer. So I thought that fit perfectly for that, and this one was just really energizing and fun to be in. I definitely tried a little harder with the workouts this week, and yeah, I mean, just really a really fun one. And this is the one we're in now. So today's Sunday. I won't be able to actually finish this spread out until Sunday comes and goes, so that I can actually put in what my stats were for today. So this will need to stay here in my planner one more day till I'm ready to retire it. But the, let me move this dashboard out so it's a little bit easier to see. But this one, I think I did, yeah, I think I did a plan with me on. This one, I just decided to call it Popsicles. Yeah, I think this was not a plannable challenge, right? Yeah, no, this one wasn't the plannable challenge. So I wanted to use up some older stickers, so I grabbed out these Popsicles and just did kind of a 3-color theme. This one was really fun, and I have one more day, like I said, in it, but again, very energizing and summery. I like these summer spreads. And then what I decided to do for the back page here on my health planner is each month I put in this habit tracker for a way to track my my meds and supplements. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it so you guys can see a little bit better. So this is actually based off of something in my shop called just a basic habit tracker. It's exactly the same except for I changed the title to say meds and supplements, and right here from I think habits to meds and supplements. So this is available in my shop and available for customization if you want something similar. But basically all I do is put down like my medications, I put down supplements, And then at the bottom, I've been putting in symptoms this year. So any symptoms that are related to my chronic allergies and asthma and all the nonsense that I have going on with me, I just track it here. And it's been really good to see it all at a glance and to see what times of the month maybe I was having extra issues, or if there's a weather situation, I can kind of pin it down to, a week or a couple days. That's helpful information. And so this is just how I mapped it out. And again, a very useful health tracker for me. Okay, so I can't really move that out at this time, but it will be going into this planner, I believe. Yeah, this is my health planner. This planner tomorrow. And again, it's very similar kind of setup. I have just a hodgepodge of things in here, dividers, and then inserts. So I basically just keep it in here and pull out the next month when I need it, and then stick it back on the shelf. Okay. So that said, I have my tabs already set up in here. You can see the week is actually up here. So these split areas of the month where you have, sometimes you're moved on to the next month, but you still have days in the next week, I find super frustrating. I know you need to do it, but I really hate not having that flow, the flow interrupted as I go 1, 2, 3 through my tabs. So just an FYI, I'm a person of habit. I really like to have that kind of consistency. And so these weird days at the end of the weeks sometimes really, or at the end of the month, really throw me. Anyway, so I have my July pages already in there. So we are moving on. I'll go to the back. Just talk about this last tab here. So on here, I actually include a perpetual calendar that I track my weight daily along with my daily steps. So it's just a basic calendar that's available too in my shop, but Happy Planner does perpetual calendars as well for the full year, and I use that to track, but I don't share it. That's why I have my little magnet on there to keep the pages shut, but it's another touch point I do every day, so I needed to have it attached somehow to this so that I would make sure I was checking it. So I have that at the back, and that's pretty much it for my health planner. So next we're into what I call my daily planner, which is my catch-all. And again, from my shop, inserts. This one has a monthly. It has what I call the month overview, and then it has the layout I use, which is a horizontal planner. Okay, so this was my monthly overview, and this one actually I put to good use, mainly I think because I liked the theme so much. I was just very eager to write in this. I did this really kind of cool, in my opinion, I think it's really cool, the lei idea, kind of vintage Hawaii feels. I really loved how this looked, the color scheme, it just really all came together really nice, so I was really happy with this theme. And again, I theme out all the monthly pages the same, so I have this in the hourly, the month overview in the same kind of design. Must think but cannot. So this is the last month I'm going to be using this monthly as is. I've been using it for the first half of the year for basic monthly scheduling, so any events, appointments, things I need to remember, I've been putting that in here. And then I've also been doing a slight bit of tracking, if you will, or like not memory keeping, but just kind of if there's something notable and fun that I did, I tend to write a little blurb about what I did that day. So that said, that's how I've been using it. I also track the books that I've read and the TV that I've seen for the month, because I tend to forget the minute I'm done with either one of those. So it's nice when I'm talking about things I would recommend to friends and just going over, what I've been into. It's just nice to have a little list. So I have that here in the sidebar. This will continue into July, but I'm going to be switching out this spread with the back page spread and just kind of swapping what I track, which is my my memory keeping, memory a day thing. So next month it'll be a little bit of a different setup, but this month I really did try to use it to its fullest and enjoyed the layout a lot. So next we have the month overview, and for this layout in my shop it's a little bit more generic. So it's an undated format. There's no social elements in it. It's just you know, an empty month box with a Sunday or Monday start option, and then some lined area here, habit trackers, long checklist, and dot grid over here. So it's very kind of more neutral in case you need it for other uses, but really like the format. I have over here in my habits, I track a few things like going outside. I have to track that because obviously I don't do it enough. I have AM, PM skincare. That's been going pretty good. Actually, it keeps me thinking about what I need to do. Audiobook or book time. I do listen to a lot of audiobooks throughout the day, and sometimes I have time to read a real book, but I just like to track when I'm into that. And then my physical therapy stretching, which, oh goodness, that's just not good. But I try. I put a little effort in. So we have that. Then I have my monthly to-do list here. So these are just things that I want to tackle at some point throughout the month. So it's a nice place to have that list because I'm checking this every day. So I see this list daily and can remember to try to work those into my schedule. Then I have over here my Instagram and YouTube followers and subscribers on the daily. That's how I'm using the monthly, and that's been working out great. And then I added this little section here for my kind of stat tracking in social, so I can just see how I've been growing, and then those items that I need to do regularly, just so I can make sure I'm hitting those items. So that is this spread, and again, just the theme was so fun to be in this month. I really was sad to leave it, but really a very productive and functional spread as well. Okay, so next we're into my first horizontal layout. This one, I believe, was a pink theme, maybe Pretty in Pink. Let me just verify that. Yes, so it was Pretty in Pink was the Plannable Challenge, and I wanted to do a Donut Day theme on the horizontal as well, but I didn't have the stickers to make this happen and do a pink theme. So I did it on the health and then decided to do these pink watercolor florals from way back into time from the Happy Planner, and I really like how this one turned out. So very pink. I'm not a huge pink fan, let me just put that out there right now, but I really liked how this turned out. It was very bright, which was nice and fit the summer vibe I was in. So yeah, so I use my horizontal basically very functionally. I usually have a checklist of items I need to tackle each day. I have what I call my focus area, which will usually be something I need to, you know, pay attention to for the day, or appointments, events, just something I need to be aware of. So I call those my focus boxes. Sometimes there's a box, sometimes there's not, but I call it focus boxes because usually there's a box. And then decor. So that's kind of how I divide up my layouts, and it's been working for me for years, so I'm not gonna, you know, try to reinvent the wheel. It really has been helpful. I also pulled out my hard tip brush tip pen for the week. I must speak, but cannot. My hard tip brush pen for this week, so I could add a little bit of contrast with the darker black elements, because it was a lot of pink. So I felt like if I bring in some black, it will help kind of neutralize a little bit of the pink. But overall, just really a good week to be, you know, focused in, and the theme was pretty fun. Also, too, I've been trying to use my old stickers a lot. This is a really great way to get rid of all of these pink watercolor stickers that I had left over from previous books and really use them up. So that felt good as well. So this one was a fun one. I did not do a plan with me on this, I don't think. Oh, actually, I don't remember if I did. If you guys remember if I did a plan with me on this, let me know, but I don't think I did. I got pretty creative with some watercolor. I just wanted to use up stickers. Like I said, I was going through my books trying to figure out stuff I hadn't used, and there's this really fun Wild Journey sticker book that I like, but it doesn't have a lot of decor stickers, so I was like, how can I bring in some decor? And decided to make some watercolor like backgrounds to tie everything together. This one turned out so fun, actually. I really loved the energy and the fun of this one. I layered it with some cardstock, so it just kind of added that vibrancy, and then kept everything pretty, well, I call it functional when everything's kind of in line. It very, in line and easy to go through and do my check off each day, and then also have the focus boxes here on the side. So this was a really fun one. Enjoy this a ton. And then this one was for a plannable challenge. This one was for summer mixtape. And again, it was something that I didn't really have all of the stickers I needed to make one spread. And I didn't want to keep buying stickers just for, the theme. So I ended up printing my own stickers using my foam memo printer. Those of you who've been with me for a while know that I have like this little thermal printer that I used to use even more. I used to use it on the regular because I would do it for my stat stickers. But I hadn't really touched it in a few months, but I pulled it out to print out these mixtape images that I thought would be a good way to kind of bring a little bit of decor in without having to purchase stickers. So this one was really fun, added some color in the background. I even hand drew in some music notes, had some older Happy Planner like holiday type stickers or seasonal stickers that I pulled in to really make this come alive. That said, again, it was a good month, or not a good month, a good week, and this one was a fun one to be in as well. So this one, I think I just decided to do another vintage theme. I was kind of in that vintage kick, but this one I went for more of a botanical, kind of a lighter vibe as far as the vintage feels. I have a lot of these, I think, came from the Your Creative Studio box that I got, and then I mixed in some different washies and some stamps, I think. Yeah, these are actually stamps. I did some rub-ons. So really fun, and pulled this one together. I did what I call like my mid-page layout, where you take a lot of the decor here in the middle and then use the outsides for the functional items, and that worked out really good. So that was that week, and then here is the week we're in now, and I've got this layout, which was for the Plannable Challenge theme, Travel Bug. Yeah, Travel Bug. And I used stickers that I got again from Easy Craft Art, I believe. I got like a small box set of travel stickers and put that together. I don't think there was a plan with me on this now that I'm thinking about it. So yeah, so I just had like a little box of die cut stickers that I pulled in. I also layered in some Girl Boss Anna Narrative Hues overlay inks to add some like rainbow colors, and some boxes, just really fun, and a few little travel items from the travel sticker book to just again kind of reiterate those travel vibes. So it was really fun. I didn't have anywhere to go, but it was a really fun one, and really enjoyed just being in this. I mean, we're here today, so I still have one more day to wrap up, but this one has been a really fun one to be in. So again, since this is still in progress, I won't be able to retire it, but I do have this one last page in the back, which is what I was talking about earlier, my Memory a Day page, again in that monthly theme I was going for. And here is where I have like a single page month, which currently is not in my shop, in case you're wondering. But I've had a lot of requests, so it will be coming soon. I just got to figure out how soon I can get it. But basically, I created this in the beginning to do a Memory a Day tracking setup. But as you can see, it's just a little too tight for what I really want to track as far as my memories each day. So I'm going to be moving this into the monthly, and then the monthly items, the events and appointments, to this spread going forward for the year. I think that's just going to work out better because I have so much extra space there on the monthly, and here I have like 0 space, so it'll be a nice switch so that I can really make the most of these layouts. So that said, I have that, and again, I just write in a memory each day, just something that I want to remember and kind of differentiate the days from each other. And then I also have been putting in some highlights down here at the bottom just to kind of give an overview of the best things or the things that I want to remember for the month. And then if I really want to get drilled down to the individual days, I can read the memory that I wrote down. Yeah. Okay, so that is the June daily, my daily planner or catch-all planner for most people. I have July already in. Excuse me. And then the last planner we're going to touch on is my hourly planner. Let's see. And here I've been using the Happy Planner Achieve Greatness Hourly Planner. So this one has some goal setting items that I really wanted to implement for 2023. Added that in, and I also I also wanted to do some hourly scheduling. Had to think. I'm really not thinking very well right now. I'm sorry, you guys. So anyway, I've got the June layout in here, and the monthly overview I use for social media scheduling. So my posts on Instagram go here, as well as the videos I plan to post. And I just kind of map it out ahead of time and follow along. And if things change, I'll either erase or put in like a little red arrow to distinguish where things went or moved forward to. I was also tracking my plannable themes here in the sidebar. Unfortunately, June was the last month of the plannable challenge. We decided to retire it, but it was a really fun 3-year run where we were producing themes for you guys, and I just really enjoyed being part of it. Just got too busy to keep it up, but that's where I was tracking them. And then that's pretty much it. I really don't do any decorating on this spread at all. I keep it pretty functional, as you can see. And I do some color coding, but for the most part, it's just kind of black ink and a gray marker and a little bit of red where needed. So actually, this should actually move forward. So this is my monthly goals section, or it's like my goals overview, if you will. This came with that Happy Planner. So it has this set up for 2 major goals to address for the month. And here on this side is where you're supposed to reflect on those goals. And then this is where you set up basically what I have here, which is the goal and then the breakdown of the goal. That wasn't really working for me, so I decided to break it into 4 goals and do the goal review at the end of the month on the back page. So you can kind of see how I've set it up. I reworked it with stickers to try to make it fit my needs, and this worked out pretty well the last couple of months, just using these bigger boxes to reset the page. And here, like I said, this is where my monthly goals live. Over here is where I put my weekly goals, but not really weekly goals, weekly goal tasks. So if there's things that I know I'm going to be doing for the week, each week, I will put those in that are those big time-consuming items, so I can be aware of those and then fit my goals in and around those goals tasks around them. I do a setup video on this spread, so if you want to know more about the drill down on how I'm really utilizing this, I do all of the writing and everything kind of set up at that time, so I will walk you through my whole goal setting process along with the decor. So this is how it turned out, and again, we're still kind of in this last week, so I will be leaving this in here. Here is my scheduling hourly setup for the week, and basically it's just hourly schedules down the list. I also have a little space up here where I do like the major tasks that I need to tackle, like the work tasks at the top, and then here I set a priority and a goal work focus for each day. That's just how I've been using it because of the way that it's set up. That's been working for me. I put in a little tracker to review my video production, so I can kind of keep track of where I am with the videos for the week. And then I was also putting in some theme ideas here so that I would have those ready to go when I was getting ready to set up my planner pages. So that said, this is pretty much very generic as far as no decor, but I do color code, and I set this up with some sticky notes. So I have a video about my planner hack on how I pre-plan this part of this of the spread beforehand so I can track where I'm going throughout the, oh my gosh, must think. So I could time block my day ahead of time, and then as the day goes, then I fill it in. So this is how that first week kind of turned out, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about that as we go through. So this is the second week. Again, it looks very similar. Kind of found my groove with this theme, so they all will look very similar going forward. I do color code, so anything that was goal related I put in blue. Anything that was black was kind of like a routine thing that I always take care of, or something that's maybe social related or anything that's outside of my normal goal work or freelance work. So those items go in. Anything that was like downtime would be in green, and then anything that was an active thing I needed to do, either going outside or maybe like cleaning, moving, something that I needed to be not at a computer for, basically, will be in red. And that worked out pretty well. Just the color coding, I liked that. It's easy to see where a lot of my day is spent, and I find this very useful. The only problem with this layout is that it goes from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and I do a lot of work in the p.m. So I needed something that went a little bit longer into like the 10 o'clock hour. So you'll see I make some changes in the planner setup video for July where I'm going to retire this layout, but I'm using something similar enough to where it will look very similar next month, but I'll have a little bit more space at the bottom and a little bit of a different setup at the top. So this is the next week. Again, very, very functional planner here. I tried to, mix it up, and this just ended up being the one that worked the best as far as the checklists and the tracking and how it looks. It's not very pretty now that I look at it, but I'm like, it's very, very useful. And then here was the final week, I think. Oh no, I have one more week, and I'll show you guys a little bit about how I do that pre-planning. But again, not much else to see. So this is the week we're currently in, and these are the sticky notes that I use to pre-plan my week. And I just kind of set them up ahead of time to schedule out what I'm going to do. And then as the day progresses, then I'll go back in and replace those with what actually happened. So there was no workout. I did clean though, so I will be like replacing that. I did shower, all that stuff. So that's just how I will work it, and I'll be going through and how long each thing took as well is very useful information. So again, I have a planner video on that, or a planner hack video on that if you want to know more about that. And I can guide you to it if you're having trouble finding it, but I think I did that last month or in May maybe. And then finally I have this currently page that I've been using for my monthly goal review. And this is just a very basic setup I kind of been doing all year, where I just I address these major questions, I guess, like what worked basically, wins, what worked, what didn't work, what didn't work, and then the lessons and adjustments. And then here I've just been kind of using this for whatever things to be aware of for the next month, and then important dates. But for the most part, this is where the goal review happens. And I have set this up on camera if you want to see a setup of it, but I haven't really done one lately since they're all kind of the same thing once I figured out what I was doing. And again, I'm still working on that last day, so this needs to stay in my planner, but I have July already in there for the monthlies. And then that's pretty much it, you guys. I do have one more planner in here, which is my budget planner, and I don't go through the after the pins on this, but I do have a budget setup video. If you want to see kind of how I'm using this planner, I go into detail on each of the pages that I'm using. This is from the Noted company. It was a printable that I printed at the beginning of the year to try out budget planning, and really like it for the most part. I did add in an extra page, but most of the inserts that I used was from that budget planner that I bought. So I have that all set in there, and that's pretty much it. I have a couple more sections in the back. I have my reference section and then my notes section But that's pretty much it for the After the Pen flip through for June. And if you, again, want to see more about my full planner setup, go ahead and check out the planner video or planner setup video I just did earlier this week, going through my mid-year setup and what's changing, and you can kind of see the layouts, how I plan to use them, as well as how I navigate through this planner a little bit more. So let's wrap it up there. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you joining me today. And if you have any more questions for me, go ahead and drop those either in the chat, or you can comment below the video so that I can get back to you at a later time. And that's pretty much it. So thanks again. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also too, if you want to get in touch, go ahead and leave me a comment. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet and would think about subscribing, that would be a great benefit to me. And that's it. So thanks again, and we will see you guys all next time. Bye.